Picture this. You walk into a coffee shop, and without thinking, you join the longer line instead of the shorter one. You don't know why. Later that day, you buy a product you didn't need because it was limited edition. That evening, you avoid a difficult conversation, telling yourself you'll do it tomorrow. 3 seemingly random decisions. But they're not random at all. They're the fingerprints of an invisible architect that's been designing your choices since the day you were born. That architect is your psychology, and understanding it is like finding the blueprint to your own life. Every human being walks around with an invisible rule book, written not in words, but in patterns. These patterns were carved into us through millions of years of evolution, and they still run the show today, even when we're deciding between almond milk and oat milk. The fascinating part? Most of us have never read our own rule book. Let's start with that coffee shop line. Why did you choose the longer one? Because your brain made a split-second calculation. More people equals better choice. This is the psychology of social proof, and it kept our ancestors alive. When everyone ran from the rustling bush, you ran too. You didn't stop to check if it was actually a tiger. The ones who stopped to check didn't become ancestors. So today, your brain still whispers the same ancient wisdom. Follow the crowd, stay safe. The line isn't just longer. To your unconscious mind, it's safer. Now, that limited edition product. Your rational mind knows that limited edition is often just marketing. But your psychology doesn't care about rational. It cares about scarcity, and scarcity triggers something primal. When resources were genuinely limited, getting them first meant survival. The tribesmen who hesitated when food was scarce went hungry. So your brain developed an alarm system. Scarcity equals urgency. Modern marketers didn't create this response. They just discovered the button that was already there and learned exactly how to press it. And that difficult conversation you avoided? That's not weakness. That's your psychology protecting you from social rejection, which in our evolutionary past was a death sentence. Being cast out from the tribe meant facing predators alone, finding food alone, surviving alone. Your ancestors who feared rejection stayed in the group. They lived long enough to pass on their genes and their fear to you. So when you avoid conflict, you're not being cowardly. You're responding to a threat that your brain still registers as life or death, even though the stakes are completely different now. Here's where it gets really interesting. Once you understand these patterns, you start seeing them everywhere. You notice how you mirror the body language of people you like, because your psychology is trying to build connection through similarity. You catch yourself making decisions based on first impressions, even though you know better, because your brain prioritizes speed over accuracy when it senses uncertainty. You realize why you procrastinate on important tasks while easily completing trivial ones, because your psychology gravitates toward immediate certainty over delayed reward. The invisible architect isn't just building random structures. Every behavior has a blueprint. Every reaction has a reason. And every choice has a chain of psychological dominoes falling behind it. The person who understands their psychology isn't controlled by it. They are in conversation with it. They can see the pattern emerging and choose whether to follow it or redirect it. This is why studying human behavior isn't just academic. It's practical magic. When you know that your first emotional reaction to anything is usually your psychology running an old program, you can pause. You can ask, is this pattern serving me now, or is this an alarm from another era? When you understand that willpower isn't about being strong, but about designing environments that don't trigger your psychological weaknesses, you stop fighting yourself and start working with yourself. The invisible architect has been building your life from the shadows. But the moment you learn its language, something shifts. You're no longer just the house it builds. You become the co-designer. Every behavior you've ever had, every choice you've ever made, every reaction you've ever felt, they all came from somewhere. They all follow a pattern. The psychology of human behavior isn't about memorizing theories or diagnosis. It's about reading the blueprint you've been living by without knowing it existed. And once you read it, once you truly see the invisible architect at work, you gain something profound. Not control over your psychology, but partnership with it. You stop being a mystery to yourself. And in a world that constantly tries to predict and influence your behavior, understanding your own psychology isn't just powerful, it's freedom.